Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi wahdah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'dah. Amma ba'd. A very important issue which we have tackled some years ago. And every so often people do ask questions, and obviously there has been some updates as well as people concerns. So I thought of doing this talk again after 10 years actually. The brothers who remember the same talk we had 10 years ago in Talha's house. Exactly, nearly similar month actually, close to Ramadan. So the reason for this, one of our students, he recently asked this question for the clarity, because they've just grown up and they're going to school, colleges, some workplace, and they tend to find it difficult with regards to performing their wudu at workplace. Especially in the winter months, when you have 3 prayers coming together from Dhuhr, Asr and Maghrib, all within 3 or 4 hours that you have to do. And we know that washing feet is part of our wudu. It is essential part of our wudu, which is ritual ablution that we do in order to perform certain ibadat, acts of devotions. For example, should you want to do your prayer, recitation of Quran by holding the mushaf, circumambulation, which is tawaf, janaza prayer, Eid prayer. So you have to have wudu, sajda tilawah. So how could you do that? When you are stuck in a situation where the access to water is a bit limited, or where you find yourself in a situation that should you wash your feet, people might find it offensive, people around you, because you might not be among the Muslims all the time. So people who are especially living in the West, for them this is a big deal. Many a time you don't find a space where you can wash your feet. You can't be using the public space and washing your feet in front of others using this next wash basin and seeing you putting your feet. You wouldn't feel comfortable if someone did it to you in your house. So that's a big problem, isn't it? And I would discourage everyone and anyone to even think like that and ever do it in public. Not at all. We shouldn't be doing that at all. This is not our property and we're not allowed to use it by the norm of the society. We are not supposed to put our feet in the wash basin in a public place unless we have got a very clear instruction or allowance. So that's a problem. How to square this circle when you have to wash your feet and you don't find the space? Everyone wear these socks these days, especially in the winter month. It becomes that much more easy if there was allowance for wiping over this normal regular socks. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Quran with regards to washing the feet. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق وامسحوا برؤوسكم وأرجلكم إلى الكعبين. Initial part of ayat 6 of Surah Al-Ma'idah. There's some more after that, but that is to do with tayammum. So if you don't find water at all, you can just do the tayammum, which is easy. In which case, if you don't find water in and around you for a mile in each direction, you can resort to tayammum, which is dry ablution. That is to use anything made of earth, rub your hand on it, your hands up to your elbow, both sides, and your face. You wipe both of those, done. That's a separate issue. We're not talking about that. We have access to water. It is something which is available here. But to use it, because I do not have means to use it properly. I haven't got a separate toilet there. I do not have a place where I can put my feet in to wash. Somehow it is not doable. So that's the topic, as opposed to tayammum. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this ayat, that, O you who believe, إِذَا قُمْتُمْ, when you stand up, إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ, towards prayer, to pray, فَاغْسِلُوا, wash, wujuhakum, your faces, wa aydiyakum, and your hands, ila al-marafiq, up to and including elbows. Wamsahu, and do masah, wipe, bi ru'usikum, on your head. So do masah of your head. Wa arjulakum, and your feet, ila al-ka'bayn, up to ankles, including ankles. So wamsahu, look at that Quranic ayah. Wamsahu, bi. Bi is a particle that makes the next noun into genitive case. That is why you see ru'usikum, whereas you had ru'us means plural of head, ras, plural of ras, head. Ru'usikum, not ru'usakum. You had, if you look at the ayat before that, with regards to face, faghsilu wujuhikum, no, wujuhakum, because that's object. Whatever you're washing is an object. Object should have a fatha, unless you have a preceding particle, which is in this case preposition. Those who know some Arabic, they would understand that. How we have to have that, ru'usikum. And that is why wa arjulakum, not wa arjulikum. If it was arjulikum, you would even wipe your feet, naked feet, these feet. You could just wipe, not even socks, anything, without anything, wipe. And this is one of the qira'ah, a shadh qira'ah, but still a qira'ah. One of the 7 recitations, this is from one of those. Uncommon, but still there, rare one. And based on that, Ahl Tashayyu', the Shia people, they have taken this to mean that they read it as وَأَرْجُلِكُمْ, and there's allowance for that from one of the recitation. So they just wipe their feet, normal feet, without socks, without anything. That's their fiqh. That's how they look at that. But that's beside the issue. Al-Sunnah agree that we have to wash it, because our qira'ah reads it وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ. Okay, so we have to wash our feet, and there's no disagreement among Ahl-Sunnah wal Jama'ah on washing the feet. Is that clear? There are many ahadith on this, whereby Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam instructed, and he performed, and Sahaba performed, and Ummah has done it over years. So that's a default position based on Quranic ayah that you have to wash your feet, period. There's nothing more than that. However, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that you could wipe on the leather socks, and he himself demonstrated it. Not one time, not 2 times, thousands of times, many times, not thousands, many times. So many times. Almost every time he was traveling, he would wipe over leather socks. Even within the city. There are 80 Sahaba who narrated it. More than 80 actually. Who narrated. They've seen Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wiping over leather socks. That is why when you read the Aqidah of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, which is compiled together by Imam al-Tahawi, Imam Tahawi rahmatullah alayhi, his Aqidah Tahawiyah, out of many points, 100 odd points, in the middle he would say, and wiping over the leather socks. It's part of Aqidah. This is part of Aqidah of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Because for Shia, Ahl Tashayyu' and Mu'tazila, they do not accept that. For them, these hadiths do not get enough strength to be followed, because they have got their different way of looking at a hadith. And they've got their own set of ahadith. So they do not accept and allow wiping over the leather socks even. So that is why it becomes one of the points which distinguish Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah from Mu'tazila and Ahl Tashayyu' in fiqh, obviously. And then it becomes a point of identification, a separation. So we, as Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, take that as completely permissible to wipe over leather socks, and it is Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, you don't have to do it, but you can do it. The Mu'tazila would say, oh, this is Quran, you're going against Quran. No, we can't allow that. Out. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayh, he was the last one to accept that from Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. He left it for too late. Well, late enough, where he said, you know what, now I've got enough Sahaba. Now we've got enough Sahaba and their reports to confirm it. So now it's perfectly fine to do it. Why? Because you're changing Quran. How could you change Quran from hadith? One hadith, two hadith. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did it that often. You only need one person to say it, and not doubting their intention, but the person afterwards, maybe they misunderstood it. Maybe they got it wrong. Maybe someone concocted. Even if the chain is intact, there may be a problem. Because you can't change, even if it's sahih, you can't change Quran based on 1, 2, 3 hadith. Especially when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us, the Sahaba, to pass it on to the people who are not present. بَلِّغُوا أَنِّي وَلَوْ آيَةً, even one verse. And فَلْيُبَلِّغُ الشَّاهِدُ الْغَائِبَ. Those who are present should pass it on to others. So why did Sahaba not pass it on to others? Now in this case, so when Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi got about 80 odd Sahaba narrating the same, and Ashar Mubashara all including, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, plus other 6, plus many others. So they all substantiated it. Then it becomes a binding. It is hadith mutawatira. And then there is ijma', the consensus of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. All the different sects and denominations of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. What is Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah? The people who follow Quran, Sunnah and Sahaba and their understanding of things as a group. So that is why Al-Jama'ah of Sahaba, Sunnah, the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not just Quran and Sunnah, the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So excluding those who just follow Quran, the Quranites, they call themselves, and reject Hadith. And likewise excluding those who do not follow the path of Sahaba, the corpus of Sahaba. They follow some Sahaba. They're happy with certain Sahaba, but not all of them. Now, based on that, this has become a binding. It has been approved. Ummah is completely agreed on that. There's no dispute on that. Is that clear so far? Easy. So this is called khuf. What do we call leather socks in Arabic? Khuf, singular. A plural for that would be, well, we're not talking of tathniya, we normally use that. Khuffain, khuffan and khuffain. Khifaf we don't use, the plural we don't use. Khuffain we use. Why? Because you normally wear 2. Okay? People normally have 2 legs. So, khuffain. Mashu ala al-khuffain. Wiping over leather socks. That's the term you would find. Masah, wiping. Hasan al-Basri said, for example, I met 70 Sahaba. He met those who participated in the Battle of Badr. And they said they all perform wiping over the leather socks. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah said, I did not declare validity of performing masa on leather socks until it was evident, like very clear to me as a daylight. How was that? 80 Sahaba. I'm happy now. He became happy with that. Before that, it was like a little bit more. I need more. Imam Abu Yusuf rahmatullah likewise. Hadith is how hadith mutawatira, massively transmitted. Thousands of students of Sahaba narrated it, and from there, it's literally in thousands that you get the narration. So the strength of this hadith is overwhelmingly clear. There's no problem, no doubt, not even a point. It's 100% certainty, as we have certainty for Quran. Obviously, Quran is of thousands of people narrating it from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but here we have got even 80 is more than enough, or there were more actually. Okay, Imam Abu Hanifa got about 80. So just have a bit of idea about what sort of socks we talk about. There are 2 main categories. One is, as we just mentioned, khuffain, 2 leather socks. And there are 2 subcategories. It could be whole khuf, completed everywhere, and there are certain conditions, and I'm not going to talk about those conditions because that's not the issue here. I would just maybe go over that very quickly if you have a question. What are the conditions for that? In fact, I may just go through that. We'll see. But there is also mujalladain. Mujallad, as you know, the mujallad, you heard about book, which is mujallad. In Urdu, we use mujallad book here. The jild. Jild means skin. The 2 sides covered with skin. A book which has a normal book that has a front and back, what you call the area, front and back page being like thick. With the gatta lagate na upar niche. Binding, a binding which is at the back, at the top, and the front and the back. That's called mujallad book. A book that has got both sides covered. So a mujallad is a socks, likewise, that has leather on top and leather at bottom. All the rest is cotton or wool or whatever it is, made of anything. Understand that? That's called mujallad. And muna'al, na'al, you know na'alain, na'al, two slippers, na'alain, or slippers. Slipper is called na'al, your slipper, shoe of any sort, like in the flat. And where do you put that? At the bottom. So that's where your na'al would be. So this is what, you know, a horseshoe. When you have the horseshoe, they put that thingy there, the metal. That's horseshoe. That's called na'al. Okay. So the leather at the bottom, rest is all cotton or wool. That's called muna'al. So that's another one. Then you have, other than leather socks, jawrab. We call this jawrab. In Urdu you call jurab. Jirab, jurab, jurabe. Common word that we use. Jurab. It's actually jawrab in Arabic. That's we have just made it into Urdu language. So jawrab. So jawrabain, two of those. And they're thick jawrabain, very thick. And they're very thin jawrabain. Thick socks and thin one. With thick socks, thick being the conditions of leather socks are found in it. So what are the conditions of leather socks now? You guys know it, the 8 of them, but remember, generally, they are thick enough that you can wear them like shoe and walk. Sahaba used to have this, Arabs used to have it as their footwear, not as a socks and on top of that another shoe. No, they wouldn't do that. Either this or shoe. So that was their leather socks. So they would have. So any socks that has the quality of a leather socks, which is that you can walk in it roughly about a mile. This is how they worked out from the leather socks of that time. It is, what is the quality? It is not collapsible. If I take my normal regular socks off, it would just be like this. It cannot hold, maintain its position. It's not sturdy in any way. It is collapsible. Leather socks wouldn't. It would just fall down, but it would keep its shape maintained. Thirdly, it shouldn't have any hole more than 3, only allowances for 3 small toes. 3 small toes, that size. More than that, that's big enough hole, that would disqualify it as a khuf, as a leather socks. Another condition is, it should not be see-through. You should cover it. See-through means holes or other stuff. It should be, can only be see-through if it's just like, plastic or thin something or net. It should be covering properly. And it shouldn't need to be tied. It is not collapsible again, same way. And it should be worn in the state of wudu or ghusl, after washing your feet. And it is above your ankle, completely including your ankles. So those are the conditions for a leather socks that we wear, and it is permissible to wipe over that as we just discussed. With regards to the thick socks, if you have thick socks made of wool or anything else, which has these qualities, you can wear. The qualities that is required is, they should be thick enough that you can wear it and walk for a mile and it wouldn't tear apart. It should not be see-through, and it should not be permeable for the water to seep through inside. And it should be worn in the state of wudu. So for that sort of socks, a thick socks, Imam Abu Hanifa, rahmatullah alayh, and Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, they both allowed, and many other Imams likewise, I'm talking about these 4 main Imams, both of those allow even wiping over the leather socks like this, non-leather socks like this. A socks which is jawrab, thick enough that you can walk and there isn't much holes in there and it's not see-through. You understand? So that's sort of socks, thick one. Imam Malik and Imam Shafi, they don't even allow that. Some other Imams don't allow either. They say it's not leather. For them, I will come to that in a minute. For Imam Abu Hanifa and Imam Ahmad, there is a report that would suggest that. I would come to that in a minute. With regards to thin socks that we wear, this was non-existent in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, generally. Why? Do you think that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's time would have a machine socks like this? Is there any possibility of that being there? They were not there. Now Arabs call it jawrab. It's fine. It's jawrab. It is jawrab. It is not leather socks. It's not khuf. So it is jawrab. The question is, can we wipe over these socks? By extension of the two opinions from out of four Imams, Imam Ahmad and Imam Abu Hanifa, allowing it, can we then extend it to this? Though obviously scholars have to go back and find out what is the reason. Did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ever wipe over the socks other than leather, non-leather socks? Did he? So if you look at that, there are three narrations you would find. Three narrations. One from Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and that is rejected by people, not because of Sayyidina Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu, because it's someone who narrated from Bilal afterwards, 2-3 lane down the road, the people in the chain. They were so weak, fabricators. So hadith is out. So they are so weak that you cannot take that at all, and no one takes it. Another narration is from Abu Musa al-Ashari, again rejected, very weak. By consensus, you can't take this to apply to anything. Okay? There's one hadith though, from Mughira bin Shu'bah. Remember this name, Sahabi called Mughira bin Shu'bah. He mentioned it, and his students then related it, and Imam Tirmidhi, which is the sixth of the main canonical collection of hadith, yeah, one of those, Sunan collection. So Sunan Tirmidhi, which is also actually a Jamia. Anyway, so this hadith collection, Imam Tirmidhi is one of the greatest Imam and Muhaddis of hadith. Great Imam. He said the hadith is good. Now when he said hadith is good, this is a big saying. A big Imam authenticating and bringing a hadith. Based on that, there is this issue. If Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wiped on other than leather socks, then it should be allowed. Either as an exception. Imam Abu Hanifa wouldn't accept that, because Imam Abu Hanifa's stance is strict on that, where he says one hadith cannot change Quranic import. He would not accept that, which is fine. But other Imam Shafi for example, would take that. He doesn't take it either. The reason that he doesn't take it, and that is a hadith, if I just read it to you, so just for the barakah. So Imam Tirmidhi says, Imam Tirmidhi, Qala Tirmidhi, Imam Tirmidhi rahimahullah, Haddasana Hanadun wa Mahmud ibn Ghaylan. So two of his teachers, Hanad and Mahmud, both saying it. Qala, they both said, Qala Haddasana, what did they say? Waqi ibn Sufyan. Waqi is great Imam. An Sufyan, an Abi Qais, an Huzayl ibn Shurahbil, an al-Mughira ibn Shu'bah, Mughira ibn Shu'bah. قال توضأ النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ومسح على الجوربين والنعلين. So this is a chain. His two teachers, they both said that we heard our teacher Waqi', he heard from his teacher Sufyan, he heard from his teacher Abu Qais, and he heard from his teacher Huzayl bin Shurahbil, who from his teacher Mughira bin Shu'bah, the Sahabi. Huzayl bin Shurahbil and Abu Qais, these are the two people who have issue. They are the only one in their chain narrating. Every chain is same. These two there, if you replace them with other students, there are 10 chains like this. 10 chain. This is one chain. If you change Huzayl ibn Shurahbil to other shuyukh, other students of Imam Shu'bah, Mughira bin Shu'bah, the Sahabi. So Mughira bin Shu'bah, the Sahabi, he is narrating. This student say this student, all the 9 sitting there, they all narrating khuf, leather socks. Only Huzayl bin Shurahbil narrated jawrab. He used the word jawrab. You understand that? This particular student, he said, Mughira bin Shu'bah said, and by the way, out of 80 hadith, Mughira bin Shu'bah is the most repeated, like the one who mentioned it quite a few times. He is the one who is the actual narrator of the hadith, many times over, to different people in different occasions. Mughira bin Shu'bah is a Sahabi of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is the one who narrated a lot about wudu of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and likewise about this issue of leather socks. This student says from all the students, and from his students only Abu Qais says that was Jawrab. All the rest say Khuf. Now we can't go back to verify. Obviously they're not sitting together and fighting and arguing over that. If they did, would have been fantastic, they would have clarified it. Can't be that 9 people say one thing and one person says something else, even if it's sound and good. Who would you go for? If they were together in the same place and we had a chance to speak to them, they would have clarified. Oh, I said Jawrab, but I meant Khuf. Oh, it was just a slip of a tongue. Whatever it would be, I don't know. Maybe it was Jawrab. I'm not saying that it wasn't. I'm saying that this is the problem. So based on that, Imam Shafi and many Imams, they would not take. They said, no, you can't take 1 out of 9 and out of 10, only one student's narration and leave the others and ignoring it. This is called, there is iltirab, this confusion. You take the stronger one, which is 9 together, which goes with Quran, which goes with 80 Sahaba's hadith. Quran, I said, because of the Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah says, as Shia wipe on the normal socks or normal feet, they say no, this qira'ah refers to the wiping on the leather socks. Arjuli kum, kasra one. But anyway, so we have got one narration which Imam Tirmidhi says okay. Many other Imam, his senior like Waqi', Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, who is his teacher, and many others, they say weak based on this. People didn't accept it. Imam Tirmidhi said it, but he is a good big Imam obviously. But he on one side, along with one student of a Sahabi and one of his students, all the rest of the Ummah considered to be weak. So that's the only evidence we have for wiping over leather socks by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is all I just said. Exactly, yeah? Now, I just quoted all the Imams, whatever I just said, summarize it here. Now the Sahaba though, there are many reports about Sahaba who wiped over the socks. Although some of the Ahl Hadith, Salafi scholars, big Imams, they consider it to be weak. All the Sahaba. However, Nasiruddin Albani, rahmatullah alayh, he considered them to be sahih. He says, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't wipe, agree, but Sahaba did. We can take the action of Sahaba. Why not? I'll come to that in a minute. Umar bin al-Khattab, there's a narration, a weak one on this one. Ali ibn Abi Talib, sahih. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, sahih. Abdullah ibn Abbas, weak. Al-Bara ibn Azib, sahih. Anas bin Malik, Abu Umama al-Bahili, Sahal ibn Sa'ad, Amr ibn Hurayth. So this is all in Sahih Abu Dawud. This should be green. So that's a reference. Abu Dawud is the name of the book. All of these is good about how many? 9 Sahaba. 2, there's weakness about that, about their narration, but other 7 definitely did wipe over Jawrab, over the socks, other than leather socks. So that is strengthen this view that you can wipe on the normal, regular, thin socks. On socks. Based on that, in the modern time, you would find certain shuyukh, certain ulama, took it to mean that you can wipe on the lower. It is much more prevalent these days. So Salafi scholars, Sheikh Uthaymeen and Sheikh Albani, rahmatullah alayh, ajma'in, they took the view that you can wipe on the normal, regular socks. Based on Jawrab, practice of Sahaba. Others do not allow that even now. Now, even from Salafi Imam, as I said, Sheikh Azmi, and also the greatest Imam of Saudi Arabia, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Grand Mufti of Saudi Arabia, Sheikh Abdullah ibn Baz, Sheikh Ibn Baz, the Grand Mufti there, who passed away at the end of the century. It's 2000 and, what do you call 20, when would that be? 2000, yeah. 2000. I think it died 1999 or 2000, close to that time. He doesn't accept that. What he says, as all the other Imams says, or say the same thing, because there's explanation for that. Number 1, they say Jawrab, yes, we agree, Sahaba did it. But since when do you become follower of Sahaba, people of Hadith? Ahl Hadith do not follow Sahaba. They don't take the view of Imam Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala as Khalifa of Muslimin for 20 rakat of Taraweeh, for 3 talaq, triple talaq, divorce in one sitting. They say this is Sahabi, we follow Quran and Sunnah. So all of a sudden, you do not need a Sahabi. How could you take the view from a Sahabi or any Sahabi when you do not take Sahaba as your yardstick? You have to have a hadith according to your methodology. So you're making something, then you have to latch on to this weak hadith of Imam Tirmizi, which Imam Tirmizi considered okay, all the rest considered weak. Even if you consider that hadith to be sahih, we come to that in a minute, then there are problem. So the first response to this Sahaba's action, which we take it as, but you can say back, so yes, we are Salafi, but you are Hanafi. You should take it. Yes, we do take it. But we do not take if it's against Quran or Sahih Hadith or Ijma of Ummah. So here, the problem is, you are taking the view of the Sahaba whose normal practice has been, all of these would wipe over leather socks. And they did jawrab. So what we say, the Hanafis would say, they were thick jawrab. Because we cannot envisage that the Sahaba had thin socks like that, sophisticatedly created in China. And then they, mashallah, everything is manufactured in China, isn't it? So they didn't have that luxury. So they were like in handmade, maybe some sort of crude way of doing it through some woolen. It's highly unlikely that they had thin socks like this. It was thick socks. And if there was a leather underneath or top, there's a possibility as well. Because these terms are being developed over time. It wasn't there all the time from the beginning. So they may have had similar words, as we say sometimes. Socks. In English, it's all socks, isn't it? This socks, that's socks. They may mean, because you can't verify with him now, so it may be the thick socks. It may be leather socks even. But he called it jawrab. It's quite common to use the term interchangeably. We do that. We call biryani pulao biryani. They always dispute on, is it pulao or is it biryani? Different parts of Indian people, even they differ. No, it's pulao. Oh, no, it's, in Punjab that becomes biryani. In Bangladesh it is the tahari that we call, which is biryani there. People do that. That's a possibility. I'm not saying that we don't know. That may be a possibility. Mujallad, and it could be mujallad, as I said. It could be muna'al. So where are we now? Now come to the conclusion. Default position is what? Wash your feet. That's what Quran says. You are bringing about change to the Quranic import. MashaAllah. We go ahead with the mutawatir hadith, which is wiping over leather socks. 3 narrations allowing, 2 completely weak. The third one has some strength based on Imam Tirmidhi rahmatullah alayh. But as I said, there is a lot of iztirab, confusion within the same narration. The narrators are sound. We're not saying that, but they are going, this is called shad, when a narrator goes against someone who is better in his retentive memory than that individual. So A class narrator goes against A plus. Best student goes even, the best student is here, the one who is underneath him, below him, goes against him. So you take the view of the best one. And they're not 1, 9. So why would you take the one who is different to the others? And as they're not machine socks, they're not machine made, they're thick socks resembling leather socks. And that is why, as I said, some of the Salafi scholars do not allow that. Sheikh Ibn Baz, and if you go to Islam QA, which is the most popular website from Salafi school in English, it's been there for many years, mashallah, Sheikh Salih al-Munajjid, you read it, and you would say, our consortium here, the Darul Iftah, their Lijna, their group of scholars sit together in the committee in Saudi Arabia. They said, no, we don't allow that. They don't allow that. That's their view, that's their verdict, and they quoted it. Go and read it. In the modern time, and in the earlier time, as Imam ibn Taymiyyah rahmatullah alayh, Imam ibn Qayyim, Imam ibn Hazm, Maulana Maududi from Jamaat Islami, Sheikh Albani, Sheikh Uthaymeen, rahimahumullah ta'ala alayhim ajma'in, may Allah have mercy. There's mashallah great scholars of their time, but they all suggested it is okay, but compared to them, you have the likes of thousands of scholars of the past and present. So it's like Imam Abu Hanifa, Malik, Shafi'i, Ahmad. I mean, how could you put them on one side and have these modern day or relatively later generation muhaddisun and fuqaha and ulama? They're good, but not as good as they are. And they're minority on top of that. And even if they were majority, they are not saying it's fard. Imam Ibn Taymiyyah is not saying it's fard. He's only saying it's okay. You can do it. You can do it. Does it make it wajib? No. Whereas other side says if you did it, your prayer is not done because your wudu is not done. So you're taking a risk. In a Pascal's wager, you're taking risk for something which could actually jeopardize your wudu and your prayer thereby. So you should try and avoid as much as... That is why people now, what they do, the excuse was, why some of the muftis then give the fatwa, because what happened? Arab muftis, if they follow Salafi school or other school even, because the way you portray it to them is, Sheikh, it is very, very difficult. We can't do anything. We're at work. There's no option of wiping it. How do we go about it? So Sheikh said, oh, mashallah, you guys are really in trouble, my son. Yes, you can wipe. And I said to them, no, ask me. Ask me why? Because I work. I've been working here for 20 years. I never needed to do it, ever, even once. And I never needed to miss my prayer, which means I've always managed to wash my feet. In between any shift where you're looking after patients who are collapsing and you're doing, because there's time. You plan ahead. You prepare. You know you are on shift. You just don't go to your shift without knowing what to expect. So you prepare for that. And how? I would tell you in a minute. And even if you, despite all that, you want to go for the unsafe but easier option, go for it. But at least don't lead people in that state. Have mercy on yourself and others. And even if you are so arrogant and so self-centered that you have to lead, so when you do lead, at least announce the people, O Musallis, I wipe on my normal socks. Those who want to follow can follow. If you don't want to follow, go and pray on your own, or pray and then repeat afterwards. That's your problem. But I'm not going to wash my feet. Be honest at least. So people are not in this, they keep coming, oh, I've seen this Imam. Now I saw him. This happened in the last week 3 times. I saw this, someone came to me saying that I saw this Imam who's just leading here. He wiped on his normal socks. What do I do? I said, he said that I didn't pray, but what about my previous prayers? I prayed behind him many times. So you are causing trouble to people who do not believe it to be okay. If you believe it, that's fine. You go ahead, pray on your own, all your prayer. Don't pray or pray without wudu. That's your problem. But don't lead people and then cause everyone else to be in trouble. That's very arrogant. If it was fard to wipe over normal socks, then yes, then you had a case. Because you are going for something which you consider to be not just permissible, wajib, a must. Obviously, then you can't take into consideration other people. But you have to do it. Do you have to do it? Is it the safest option? Is it going against all ummah, causing trouble? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said to Sayyidah Aisha, O Aisha, radiallahu ta'ala anha, if it was not for the fact that the people just came to Islam after the conquest of Mecca, and they would find it uncomfortable, I would have demolished Kaaba and built it on the foundation of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, the original foundation where Hatim is part of it. And I'm not doing it. Why? Now this is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to do something which is definitely more preferable on the original foundation. And he is not doing it. Why? To avoid and save people from fitna, for trouble. They would feel uncomfortable. Oh, he has just destroyed our Kaaba. The Kaaba, we always saw it like this, just change it. They just came to Islam, they're not ready yet. And here you are coming as an imam in the masjid. They've been appointed, I don't know for good or bad reason, I hope good reason. And then you start doing it without even having any consideration for people, which means that you're not wise enough. And I'm not saying because I follow Hanafi school. I say the same for Hanafis. If they have issue, for example, if something doesn't break, they should be very careful and not lead the prayer where their wudu might be broken according to other imams. For example, touching the woman. So just repeat your wudu. What's the problem? Don't touch your private part and not do wudu again. Even if it's permissible in Hanafi. If you're leading prayer, then be careful about that. In order to make sure that everyone else is safe. Their prayer is safe as well. Because not fard to touch your private part after wudu, is it? It's disliked if anything. If there was a reason, it's okay, by the way. But certain imam consider it to be nullifier of the wudu. So don't do it. Be careful and sensible. Likewise, both ways. It should work both ways. Anyway, what is the practical purpose? Final thing on this. Leave home with wudu. Take ghusl or wudu, something. If it's so cold and you have in time, wudu. And inshallah do 2 rakat as well. And spend some time on leather socks. Why can't you fulfill the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam of leather socks? Get a new pair of leather socks, inshallah ta'ala, and wipe over that. No disagreement. You're following the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No issue whatsoever. In the last many years, before COVID actually, since COVID it become that much more easy. Before COVID, we didn't have our office as a consultant. Like, we had office, but it's like, it was more sort of a toilet which is difficult to do, like a very small sink that you can go in and wash your feet. So I would always have one extra, so like normal size is 8 for my shoes. So I would take one pair of 9 size 9 shoes. In winter, leather socks, 9 socks, 9 shoe, that will work. And you can wipe on the leather sock without any trouble. Why can't you do that? What's the problem with that? No problem with that. It's just you being a bit more lazy, slack, not considering your prayer. Even if it was 1% chance, would you like to put your prayer at risk? Subhanallah. And try to maintain your wudu. If you don't want to wear leather socks, ask someone. Many a time there is a good room somewhere, good toilet somewhere that you can use. Your colleague or someone else may have it. Staff toilet, disabled toilet. You can go in there. Keep your own tissue paper if there wasn't enough there, and keep it very clean afterwards. Don't spoil it. You go in and then splashing water everywhere. No, don't do that. Wipe it nicely, because harming anyone is haram in Islam. You can't harm others by keeping the toilet unclean, or it has to be in the immaculate condition as you received it. So keep extra toilets. As I mentioned about leather socks, you could do that, exercise shoe. And get, if that is not feasible, get normal socks which are proven to be okay by ulama of the current time. This one is costly, a pair for £20. But you just need for 3-4 months, winter time. Buy that. That would fulfill the qualification, all the qualities of a leather socks. You can go to Azhar Academy here in Ilford Lane, Little Ilford Lane, not Ilford Lane, Little Ilford Lane, which is off the Romford Road towards East Ham, just before or after 7th Avenue. Yeah, that's where it is, before 7th Avenue. 7th Avenue? Yeah, well, maybe, whichever. No, this way. Anyway, just go there. Azhar Academy, you'll find it. Any shop, you can order online. It's called wudu socks. Wudu socks. Wear them. If you can't do that and you just forgotten about that, slap yourself. Why did you forget? Or, well, that's a joke. But if you're stuck, pray, because you can't miss the prayer on wiping on the normal socks, and then repeat it when you come back home. Come back, because your prayer is not accepted. But you've done it in the time, because you can't delay it for that reason, because you are the one responsible for it. So do it and then repeat it, inshallah ta'ala, as well. That punishment would make you realize the next time, I would have to do that again. Let me just get my leather socks sorted out. Is that clear? The summary is that you cannot wipe on the normal socks. It is not permissible. no matter who says so, because Quran and Hadith Mutawatira go against it. The Imams, 90% of them go against it. And practically, it is possible and completely feasible option which is available to you. You are only allowed to use something which is haram when you are in dire situation. Do you think you are in that situation? Now, on top of that, you know what happened? People have become so lax about this. Even the holiday period, the day off, they wipe on the socks. Okay, it's easy. Let's just do it. It's easy. Why not? Oh, why not? Why not? Don't you think that you are going against the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and you're so happy with that? Even if you think that this is sunnah, isn't there a chance at least? Would you not even put it as 50-50? Do you think that this 50, whatever I presented to you, and wallahi, this is all agreed upon, no one would question this. There may be more evidence they can produce in whichever wise way, but they cannot produce any hadith. So why would you take away a view, a slant, which is going to take you to trouble, more likely than not, or even if it's 50-50, I said. Be sensible, be mature enough. For once, do we pray properly? Do we pray regularly? And on top of that, we keep adding problems here and there. Our phone was enough to distract us and spoil our prayer. Now we've got this problem of wiping on. It has become so much rampant everywhere that everyone feels that it is their, birthright to wipe on the normal socks. Those who follow Hanafi school, they do it. Shafi, Malik, they say, who do you follow? Are you Salafi? No, I'm Hanafi. And they feel like, even fighting for that and wiping over normal socks, thinking that it's okay. It's not okay. It is not okay by any of the muftis from Hanafi, Shafi, Malik, and yes, Imam Ahmad and Imam Abu Hanifa would allow thick socks, fulfilling all the conditions. And some of the scholars in the modern time, you would find some from Arabian Peninsula, some Arab shuyukh and some local shuyukh, they would say it's okay. They live in the West, in the East, and they are giving fatwa for the West. Completely wrong. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be delving into this issue when they don't know the current situation. The situation presented to do by the people who you can't trust. Why? Because when you ask a question, you will always ask question to twist it to your favor. Oh, Shaykh, no, it's very... There was a brother who said that I can't pray Jummah anytime. My work doesn't allow. So I gave him some hints, try this, try that. No. Finally said, okay, leave the job. I'm going to try. He went to the boss. I said, I actually never spoke to him, and he allowed me. I was apprehensive, so apologies for that. Said, see, that's a silly thing. You ask the same person, okay, leave the job. What would they do? No, I would try, I'll find out. We feel shame. We feel ashamed of asking people. And I can tell you, 9 out of 10, people are very courteous and they're gentle. They would allow you. They would say, if you have trouble, go to masjid. And when you're at home, what's the excuse there? Oh, just easy. So I can continue with my game the way I did. I leave it, run back, and straight back to game. My brain is actually thinking about just the game. I had to tick box. If you don't want to pray, don't pray. But at least don't make it a thing. May Allah give us tawfiq to practice upon Sharia as Sharia requires. Remember, scholars do not make our life difficult. They have responsibility to keep it intact and give you the right thing in the right way. They have to present things as though they are speaking on behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it is very difficult for the mufti to come up with a solution that would be feasible for everyone and anyone. It is impossible. In individual situation, you may have a trouble. Then you can ask specifically, individually, but as a fatwa, your prayer is not valid if you did it. If you prayed behind someone who has done that, your prayer is not valid. What if we have done that before? If you didn't know, don't explore, don't ask them. If you've seen someone doing it, don't pray behind him. Go and pray on your own with someone else, make jama'ah on your own. That is even better. At least you've got your prayer tick box. Prayer is invalid according to these schools. Some Hanabila, some modern Hanafis as well you would find in the modern time, and you'll find people even allowing gay marriages and everything else, so they can allow even this as well. So I don't take them into consideration, because you have to, this is nothing new, it has been there. And likewise, any mufti who gives the fatwa, if he works here as a regular person and he himself experienced it, that may be a possibility, but I doubt. And I can guarantee you, with my work experience here for 20 years, I never needed to do it. I never needed to do it. So if I couldn't, you are the same person. And I don't think your job would be more difficult than a doctor's job in training. I'm not talking about, obviously now that I'm consultant, obviously a lot more freedom, you do whatever. But even as a trainee, there was never a problem, a situation that I needed to do it. Alhamdulillah. So when there's a will, there's a way. May Allah give us tawfiq. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Just wanted to stop the recording so that's finished. Go on. Now you can ask the question. 1 second.
So 2 questions. One,
Yes.
how many times do you wipe over your socks? Leather socks? Is it 3 times or 1?